Have you ever want to know how people put Christmas lights on their cars? Today we're going to run through how I've done the VF Club Sport and the VE Club Sport, and you should learn everything you need to know about putting Christmas lights on your car. So the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out whether it's in your budget to actually put Christmas lights on your car, and from there whether you're going to do your standard budget pack lights or if you're going to spend thousands of dollars on addressable lights. So regarding Christmas lights themselves, both of these vehicles here have got 240 metres of Christmas lights on them. So with Bunnings' 60 metre kit at $79, you're going to need 4 of these, and adds up to a fair bit of money right there. So the next thing is obviously powering the lights. A few ways to do it. You can use an inverter or you can use a battery pack. So what we've got here is a 150 watt inverter. These retail from anywhere between $50 and $100. No need to go get an expensive one. The cheap ones do the same thing. So what we've done for the VE, we've ran an inverter with a splitter, a cigarette socket splitter / extension cord. So straight into the cigarette socket, straight into the inverter, and then you've obviously got your other cigarette socket for whatever you may need it for. Now onto the battery packs. I did get a 150 watt battery pack right here for the VE. As these Christmas lights that you find at Bunnings, they don't use an awful lot of power. They use, honestly, bugger all. So you can get yourself a 150 watt battery pack. Now, what you can do is you can actually charge that from your vehicle's cigarette socket so that it's charging the whole time you're driving and obviously putting your lights on. And then when you flick your ignition off, this no longer charges, but it does have the built-in battery, which will run the lights the entire time. So the battery pack is a good idea and a bit of a good investment as well, which is why we've gone for the 300 or 600 watt one for the VF. The lights that you see here, these lights chew through the power. These are full RGB plus W lights. Honestly, running them off the 150 watt battery pack, you'll probably be lucky to get 25 minutes out of them. So again, depending on your budget, what way you want to do things will also determine how you want to go about it. You can spend $50 on an inverter, just run it off the inverter, which can also run off your battery depending if your cigarette socket's wired correctly. It's not hard to rewire. Or you can go and spend about $250 and get a battery pack. Or you can go and spend $600 to get a bigger battery pack. Again, it's all what suits your budget. So once you determine whether you're going to power your lights off an inverter or a battery pack, you're going to want to get an extension board. Now, you can go and get a standard $5 extension board, but one thing I do want to point out here is that these are the plug packs, and using 4 sets of lights, you can have 4 plug packs. They get hot, so you want an extension board that actually allows a bit of space. If you get a standard 4-way wide extension board, these things are going to be butt up against each other, not really allowing the heat to dissipate so much. Whereas if you go get one like this, there's a bit more space and they just leave a little bit of room between themselves. Food for thought. So the next thing you're going to want to get, some tape. Obviously, to apply these lights to your vehicle, tape. Now you can use whatever tape you like. You can use cloth tape, duct tape, gaffer tape, painter's tape, clear tape. Honestly, whatever tape you like. And if there's someone that tells you you must use this tape and you must use that tape, it's personal preference. As long as you don't have like really bad paint, you know, with your clear coats peeling away, you're not going to have any issues. I've done this vehicle here the last 2 years. Now, admittedly, 2 years ago, we actually put suction cups. We put like 1,000 suction cups over the car, so I can't speak for 2023. 2024, we use cloth tape. That's just this standard cloth tape here that you can get white, blue, red, green, yellow. There's a few different options, few different colors, and it's quite cheap as well. The reason for the cloth tape is purely for convenience. So you can get a team of people together and you can spend hours cutting tape or doing whatever you like. Or you can get cloth tape, which always rips straight. It's nice and easy, nice and simple, and it gets the job done. So for both of these vehicles, we've got 4 rolls of cloth tape at 50 meters each. We've smashed through about 170 meters of cloth tape on each vehicle, and that's just as it is. What you're going to find is over 2 weeks, you'll notice, where you might get a bit of sagging in one, or maybe one's flicking around in the wind, and that's where you're going to want to apply a bit more. So at the end of the day, 450-meter rolls are perfect for a full-size sedan with the amount of lights that we've put on the vehicle. So now we're going to go through the installation. So there's a few things to consider here. First one being pivot points. You've got your bonnet. Now you obviously want to still be able to open and close your bonnet. So where your cable comes off has to be at a pivot point. Right here, the bonnet pivots up. So right there is where you're going to bring your cable across, which will allow you to open your bonnet. Bringing the cables out of the car, you're going to want them at the front of your door pivot points. So what I've done personally is I've popped the cable out here. Then on the inside of the car, you've got a door seal that runs up to the back. That will allow you to get your cable from the front up to the back, down across the side to where you've got your inverter or battery power pack. Coming off the front door onto the back door, again, pivot point, boot, pivot point, other things might be more pivot points. So the way that we run our first run, which we're going to explain here, is basically we bring the first run out the pivot point of the door here, we run it straight up the door, we run it back, and then we bring it down to the door handle. Now that right there sets your gap. That gap is what we've decided to use across the entire car. Basically, we just want to keep everything uniform, everything standard. Now you can do it a different way. You can, run twice as many lights and bring that gap down. But this is the way that we've chose to do it. So coming off the bottom of the door here, we run across the side skirt, where again, using this pivot point right here, is where we've come up onto the back door. So how you run the lights across the car is completely up to you. You can do it whatever way you like. As you can see with the VF, we've come up, and then there's multiples of this following the contour of the car. Whereas if you come across to the VE here, we've followed this edge here. So straight line, straight line, straight line, and then we've done one contour of the car. What we do on both of them is we always do a border. So if you do a border, then you can fill in however you please, whether it's again following the contour or doing the straight lines. On to the next thing, wind resistance. Not only wind resistance, it looks a bit dicky if you don't do it this way, in my opinion. So think about the way that the wind's going to go over the car. And, if we're here blowing wind over the car, the wind's going to go straight this way. So ignoring this little section here, the way that we've done the bonnet is up and down, up and down. That way, your lines aren't actually opposing. They're not on a direct 90-degree angle to the wind. They're going with the wind. They're going with the wind. And the same with the doors. Looking at the doors, if you're driving down the highway, the wind is coming this way across your car. So you don't want these strings going up and down because they're going to catch the most amount of drag. You want your lines coming straight back, straight back, straight back. So what you want to do is you want to segment out your light strings. So if you were to get 4 of those 60-meter runs, then you've got 4 runs to play with. And obviously you're going to bring 2 out this side of the car and 2 out that side of the car. What that then means is if you do one side and say, for example, you wrap your string back around the front here, you're going to want to go to the halfway point. So what you can see here is that we've used one string and it's come to the halfway point. We've got no strings that are going past that halfway point because that allows us to basically keep 2 strings in complete unison, complete parallel, starting from the side of the car, coming up the front. So here we've gone up, across, up, blah, blah, back, across, up, blah, 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 keeping the 2 completely separate. So for our 3rd string, again, segmenting it out, 4 strings, left, right, front, back. For our 3rd string, that's the one that we've actually bring straight out here, and we've gone up, we've done the bonnet, and then we've come up and we've done a portion of the roof. And then for our 4th segment, we've finished off the roof, we've come down to the boot, and we've done the rear boot and bumper. Tape spacing, how far apart do you want your tape? Rule of thumb, you don't want more than 250 mil distance apart between the tapes. Next thing is every time your tape goes from one direction to another, you're gonna want to secure both bits. So therefore, like just like we've done here, secure, and then we've gone off in a different direction, secure that again. So last year on the VE Club Sport, we actually had a small Christmas tree on top, believe it or not. You can actually mount things to the tops of vehicles. This year, we've got a dinosaur. Now, that has actually managed to stay on there at 140 kilometers an hour without an issue. And look at it, it's so cute. So you can actually mount stuff to the top of your vehicle, but I'm not going to go through how to do that. All right, so that's all there is to putting Christmas lights on your vehicle. I'm sure I've missed a few things, so if I have, leave a comment below. I'll be sure to respond. One thing to mention, keep the tape on you. You never know what's going to happen. Just keep the tape on you at all times in the vehicle so that you can fix up bits as they begin to droop. Or if you accidentally drive into something, break your string and then have to solder your wires back together.